it's easier for everyone to look at them. They're posted on the site. Then you've got specific questions, whatever that happens to be, you can ask them instead of having to look at it right now.
I ran both the reports, and Sherry will put them up on the website. So
when did you close them off? As of December 31st?
No. We go from June to from July 1st to June 31st.
Yeah. But what is right now? Are we up to date as to?
We're up to date as of January.
Okay, good.
As of today, it takes today's date when you run the reports.
All right. I'm still, I don't have this fully on my, it's like in the corner, the agenda is in the corner of my box. Do we just need to make it bigger? All right. Report of officers, I don't know who we got. I think we've made most of the report. Secretary's report, we don't do. Treasurer's report, we have the financials printed online. They'll be on the website, so take a look at them, everybody. As we get closer, we'll see where we're at. But right now, we're solvent and we're on budget. Senior boys, Alan, is Alan here? Alan's got nothing. Mike, I don't think is on yet, and Steve is not on yet. Am I correct?
Correct.
All right, so we'll skip then. My report I gave. Let's get into the old business. Multiple reschedules due to 2 weekends of fields closure finalized. Sherry, you want to talk about that? Is that something that's lagging right now?
No, I mean, everyone is definitely working on it, so it's not an issue. But I just wanted to mention that if the date what I did for those 2 weekends, I just threw it on a date of Christmas just to kind of stand out that these games need to be rescheduled. Obviously, they weren't played on Christmas. Sure. But once the date is passed, you cannot enter a game change request. So I've just been telling everyone, just email me once you work out your rescheduled date, and I'll post it. So they're coming in, but I just wanted to remind everyone, just send me an email with the details, the game number.
Yeah, that's always an issue as we get down to the last couple of months, and I don't think we're inclined to extend the season again. We did last year because of the storm situation. I don't think that we're inclined to do it again, at least at this point. Am I correct in assuming that?
I got a question.
Yes.
How are we going to handle President Cup, Commissioners Cup scheduling conflicts?
I don't know, Sherry. I thought when we made these out, we knew the dates and we
scheduled around it, I believe. Mm-hmm. But
then there are some games that are in those dates.
Right. Well, because so many people manipulate the schedules after, so it'll just have to be the same. Just put in a game change request, and then both.
Yeah, because Les, we don't, as a league, we don't put you into those dates. Whoever scheduled them at your field or somebody else's field, probably more likely with you, just made a mistake and scheduled them.
Yeah, like I have some conflicts because we're hosting some of the games, and the fields won't be available.
Game change request.
Yeah, we knew the dates at the beginning, but again, sometimes you lose sight of that when you're actually down in the muck trying to make these schedules work. You forget those blank, what should have been blank dates. So. Out of 3,500, we're going to have some, but what Sherry will handle them, and she's good. She's better than good.
So we send a request to you or to the opposing team?
To the opposing team, just put in a game change request, because remember those dates are in the future, so so you can put in a game change request. As always, let the opposing team agree. As long as I see that, I'll approve it. But hopefully sooner than. Not once we've got refs assigned.
And if the opposing team in this case is opposed to it, Les, obviously we can override that because we know what's going on. So it's not like it's some, you have some kind of team event that day that you're going to have a barbecue or something.
Right.
President's Cup and stuff will take precedence. We won't be able to. We shouldn't get in the way of our team's playing.
Okay.
Yep, no
but
problem.
if someone refuses, Les, that is reason for if they are just obstinate about it and aren't going to do it, it'll probably kick back to us, and I would say we would be inclined to call out a forfeit myself.
Okay.
So you've got our backing as far as, but put it in fast so we can get that all cleaned up. The idea is for everybody to play every game possible.
Okay.
Actually, for the kids. All right.
All right.
Okay, the college showcase applications vetted, board member volunteers needed. Greg, that is really vital to let me know who we got and what you got planned. Now, I know you are a fanatic, detailed planner, so I'm not so concerned about it. But let me know fast enough because we will have to pick up people to do these things. We do want to give them the same. I want it to turn out like last year. It ran smoother than silk, and it was a great event.
The only thing that we're looking for, and I've put a call in for Elda mainly because she's right there. Okay.
Yeah, well, we can handle Elda. Don't worry about getting to her. We'll get to her.
What I'm looking
we might
for,
not be able to. We don't know.
Well, we've got Sherry's going to be there. I'll be there.
Okay.
And we'll get the registration and that stuff done. The food's being delivered.
Mm-hmm.
What we need somebody like 6 or 7 healthy lads that can move a couple goals. And
well, we shouldn't have to move those goals I talked about. I said you need to get down to those fields and look at them. They're right in our thing, and I'll be down there. But you've got to decide if they're good or not.
What kind of goals are there? Are they pug goals?
I don't know what they are. They're in a bag right now. They're in a.
Okay, so they're not steel poles.
No. They're pop-ups. But for one match or 2 matches, I don't know why they're.
Yeah, maybe we could use them.
Well, take a look and make sure.
I'll take a look.
I can get sandbags.
Okay.
To make sure they don't, but they're not going to hurt anybody either. But we have 4 of them sitting in the thing. I just haven't opened them up. But if someone come down there, we'll open them up, look at one, and say, "Now this won't work."
All right, I can do that this weekend.
They said we've got 4 right here, brand new, never been used.
I'll do that this weekend.
All right.
I'm still looking at 6 lads though to move water back and forth.
We're going to move water from and to, but we'll talk about that later. But if we need kids, you're going to have to pay them something unless you got volunteer hours. But what I don't want is I don't want you and me humping the water.
Right. Well, last year that's what we did. Last year we had 6 volunteers, and we gave them 10 Bright Future hours for their community service. So if we can find a couple, I'll put an email out to some of the clubs that are nearby, so they're not traveling an hour to get there.
Right.
If anybody that's here knows, has some kids looking for some community service.
Yeah, Coco's the obvious first choice. We'll try and get to him and Mike.
Right.
And the guys at Temple Terrace are close. Oldsmar is close. There's a lot of kids in that area. That's right around the airport. So it really.
That's all we need. Everything else.
Okay.
Everything else.
Well, and so you think you need Elda?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Elda and one more, just so that we're not lined up around the block.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Unpaid forfeit fines. I don't know who's not paid and who is paid, Greg, but here is the end of this. If you don't pay the forfeit fines, which are supposed to be paid before you play, but we aren't being hard asses about it, you will not be able, you're not in good standing, and you won't be able to be in the league next year. So that's, get them in and get that over with, all right? All right, new business, the U.S. grant applications open. Sherry, are you sending them out? How are you going to make them available on the website?
On the website. Yep.
Okay.
I figured.
I think what did we put out? Was it 225s and 2000s?
225s and 2 1000s.
Okay, so with that we have 4 right now. They're not by male or female, although we would like to have 2 of each, but it didn't work out that way last year. They're service. These are service grants, so it's not about GPAs or anything else. It really is based on service to the to the soccer community, and that's what they're going to be judged on. I think one of them we will make in Mark's name, one of the 2500s, and theoretically to a male player, but again, I don't think he'll mind, rest his soul, if it goes to a female. But one of those will be, our Mark Butcher Award, if everyone agrees. I think that's fitting, having lost him this year. All right. Anything else on the grant application, Sherry?
No, I'll have it, like I said, it'll become available February 1st.
All right. Cool. For the good of the game, what do we got? I mean, I mentioned the referees, the most pressing problem in the game today, far and above anything else. All the other stuff, we know goes on every year, the back and forth between businesses and volunteers, and all the other things we always have as the problems, behavioral problems, which are not deadly. By the way, I think the one club, am I right in assuming this, Greg, is back. We barred them till the first of the year. They're back playing, and I imagine we're keeping a good eye on that situation. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. We're going to adjourn this meeting. If I can get someone, Merritt, can you give us a motion to adjourn, please?
Paul, first I need to know who Steve Lang is representing.
Okay.
You still there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm with Dunedin Sterling.
Okay. And Felipe Sanchez. Felipe, what club are you with?
Felipe, it's only important.
Sorry, hello, can you hear me?
Okay. What club?
Minnesota Youth Soccer.
Thank
very
you.
good. Okay. So, Felipe, you guys are squared away and started again. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes, sir. We are squared away.
Excellent.
We've been having games, I think, there for about the last 2-3 weeks right now.
2, probably not 3, but
Probably 2,
excellent. Yeah. Excellent. And we're all pulling for you for everything to be as smooth as silk down there.
Thank you. We're doing everything we can to correct all the issues that we had previously.
Not easy. All right.
No.
Have you got everybody else, Greg?
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Merritt, how about giving us a motion to adjourn the regular meeting? Did we lose Merritt? Did he leave? I saw him.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Somebody second it, please.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So we have a quorum on that. We're gonna adjourn this one and go to the executive committee meeting right now. Have you got?
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye.
All right. We still got Jessica. Are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we've got Kai, Jessica, Merritt, Sherry, myself. So we've got 5 members for this next meeting. Have you got something we can approve, minutes we can approve from the last one?
Yeah, I just had him here. What happened to him?
No.
All right, let's see here. Agenda, hold on. Financials. Okay. Started at 8:33, and that's it right there.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes, please?
Committee.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Good. Let's get into the meeting. Minutes are approved. How about the agenda for this one, Greg?
Right there. Oh, wait a minute.
No, that's November's.
Oh, yeah. What did I do with it? I just had it here a minute ago.
Okay.
There you go. That's it right there.
Protest and appeals. Well, I guess you didn't have any this month. Sherry, you and Greg didn't have anything you needed to bring to us on that?
Well,
No,
we should have somebody on here.
for discussion, but we did not receive a formal protest.
Yeah, a protest would be on a decision we made about how long someone would serve a red card or ejection or something
I
like
think
that.
that's what it's about.
Yeah. So, but the protest got to be to protest it. You got to fill out the form, send $100 in,
Right.
and ask for a formal protest.
Yeah, we did not receive that.
Okay. Yeah, because and not to minimize that, whoever is still here with us, but because otherwise that we'd be here all night. People complaining about referees, or and not that you shouldn't, but there are ways to do that are set up in the system. And our members did this. This board didn't do it. The members set this up a long time ago, realizing that if there is a protest and someone is really serious about it, and there are a lot of reasons and basis for protest and appeals, that they need to file just fill out the form, formally protest for us, and send in $100, because that tells us you're serious, and then we do that. And you won't be without the money. If you win the appeal, you'll get the money back. But the appeal is based on a mistake that someone has made in interpreting the rules as far as the length of a suspension. And the rules are clear in FYSA fairly much. So it's really take a look at that before you protest to see if you've got a basis for an appeal. Just saying that the referee didn't call it right doesn't do it, because that's not, the appeals are not based on the referee's decision, they're based on our decisions, based on the write-up and the interpretation that the referee has given us of the outstanding red card, whatever it happens to be, whether it's a serious foul or whatever. And FYSA is fairly clear as far as the amount of games. We can add to that, but we normally don't. We normally just follow that, and that's pretty simple stuff. All right. Of course, old business.
You had a dual problem with that, though, Paul, in that the question about the validity of the call, first of all, which again we have no control over. That's
correct, and that's not a basis for an appeal or protest.
That goes to FSRC. Yes,
that's correct.
We understand that. Okay, that's half of it, and the other half was a 3-game suspension when there was no foul language.
Well, again, then that is if someone is protested, but we don't have one, Greg. But if we had one, we would need to look at the if the referee says here it is foul language, and we gave him 3 games. If the referee did not say that, and we just ended up giving the player 3 matches, that would be you could protest that, because you could say that's not, it's not proper as far as the infraction that that is reported to us.
Paul, let me have a little clarification here for
Greg.
Yeah.
Foul and abusive language doesn't have to be foul language. It can be abusive.
Understood.
I was at a game the other day, and coach was going on and on and on. He never said a foul word, but he was abusive.
Right, and there's 10 different definitions.
So there doesn't have to be, bad words in there. It can be abusive. It's irresponsible behavior. For clarification.
Gotcha. You're right.
Yeah. So again, but the basis for that, and of course, Merritt is our rabbi when it comes to this. But the basis for that is the interpretation of that we read from the referee. And that's really what sets the standard for the amount of games someone is given for the infraction. So even if it's an argument about whether my language was foul or abusive, the fact of the matter is the interpretation by the referee really has a lot of weight because we're not there. The ref is the only impartial person we have. And we assume at first, at least to start with, that the referee is unbiased and has, legitimately gotten us this report, because he's competent. You can't argue that in a protest or appeals. All you can do is argue that the interpretation or what he said is being properly interpreted for the amount of the games for the infraction. Am I correct, Merritt?
Correct.
Well, so everyone Greg, we must get 50 of these or 70 a year that the ref doesn't know what he's doing, but that isn't, we're past that point when we see it. We're not here to judge the ref. We do have a FSR system that if someone believes that a ref is not being fair or accurate or competent, they can file a request with FSR to look into it. And the point is, if a guy gets 5 of them, if you think, well, I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it because it won't matter. It's not true. Because if the same referee gets 1 every other week, then I would think FSR would look into it and say, geez, there's got to be a problem here. So it's important, if you really feel strongly about it, to file those appeals. That's the only way we get to know what's going on out there, or we can stop anything. We can't be at every match, and certainly can't be there when a dust-up comes, unfortunately. So, all right, new business. Game 1187. Late cancellation due to extenuating circumstances. What's that, Chair?
And I'm not sure if Northport is on the line or not. So what happened with, this game was last Saturday late, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I received a call from the coach of Florida Premier. This is U16 boys, that requesting to cancel the game on Sunday due to an unexpected tragedy. One of their players passed away unexpectedly. So, of course, I said that, we would allow the game to be canceled. There would be no penalty, and I would notify all the parties.
Of course not.
I received a call from Northport later that evening with some concerns about that, and that they said due to roster freeze, they would not be able to make the game up. And
I don't explain that to me. Why can't they make the game up?
I'm not sure. Maybe because of the use of Club Pass players, possibly.
So once they froze the roster, they wouldn't be able to play with the same roster they are playing with now? That makes sense?
They would be missing.
Now, here's what I understand from FYSA is that this year, the roster freeze, they'll take a snapshot of your roster on the 23rd, but you're able to still move around players. Still, it's a more laxed roster freeze. That's what I'm understanding from was it Jill Hartley? So they could make up that game. I don't see why. And if they don't advance out of the first round of whatever they're playing in, they can.
Right. Well, I explained they had until the end of March, and again, are they on the line now? No.
No.
I think there was some concern about the validity of the reason, but I did confirm that unfortunately that was true.
I mean, I would hope that no club would make up.
That's what I
said. If there's anybody that we have out there that shows up at a field where we have anything to do with, that would make up a reason like that,
right?
They should be put in a stock
Right. Well, that's what I explained. I
I
said
mean,
I had no reason to
beyond
doubt
the
his
playoff
truth,
thing.
Right.
and subsequently did confirm that it unfortunately was true.
That's a horrible thing to have to
Now,
confirm,
was that-
Sherry. I really apologize for you having to do that.
Was that player from West Florida?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't U16 boys.
Hey, Kai,
Yeah.
I'm going to put this to you and to a couple other that are here that play with this more than I do. Your Got Soccer roster for USA is not your FYSA roster.
Yeah, it's not frozen. That's
Correct.
a totally different thing.
Correct. It's two different rosters. So it doesn't make a difference what your FYSA roster shows but your Got Soccer roster, you're moving club pass players and back and forth and all that stuff. That does not affect your FYSA roster.
Well, it does, because for me, for example, I'm moving 3 players from my B team to my A team for President's Cup.
Okay.
And they will no longer be on my Got Soccer roster for USA.
Because you dropped them.
Like Kai said earlier, FYSA say they'll freeze the roster on the 23rd, and we can move the players back and forth for league games.
You dropped them though.
Well, I dropped them, but I have to use them again because I still have league games on the 26th.
So it's not limited. You can get them back to play for that match, huh?
Well, they're allowing that this year, but in the past they didn't do that. Once you move them, they're frozen on FY. You can't touch the roster.
And physically in Got Soccer, you wouldn't be able to take them off again. Is that the idea when you say frozen? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good though, isn't it? That's an improvement, don't you think, Les?
Yes, I think that's a good thing, because last year we had problems moving players around for league games.
So there's some theoretical FYSA roster out there that is the President's Cup roster that FYSA somehow knows about or approves.
Well, they take the same Got Soccer roster and they freeze it as of that date.
Gotcha.
So you can't add any players that were not there on the 23rd.
Right. And keep in mind, Got Soccer keeps a time and date stamp on any transaction.
Right. Okay. Well, that's great though.
So if you try to move
the argument by Northport then the argument by Northport is specious then, or they just don't know maybe that they can do that. So they're going to have to make up that game. And that's
those guys, truthfully, Paul, play a lot of games with their roster anyhow. They're in my division, and they play a lot of games with their roster. So
the fact that they'll either forfeit this and pass a fine, or they'll play the match, right? Are we, Greg?
Yeah.
We got. I mean, that's the bottom line here, right? All right.
Right. All right. I'll follow up with Northport and let her know that we discussed it, and they will have to make the game up one way or another. Or
there's no effect on the roster, whatever they think it is. There is no possibility that they can't use whoever they need to use. There's no reason why they can't play that match.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
How about 2189?
Well, that's the one that we discussed first.
What's that one?
That's the one that we discussed first, where you were saying they need to file an appeal to bring it to the table.
Oh, okay. So, but what is the problem there?
Okay.
Well, go ahead, Greg. You're probably a little bit more in the loop on this one.
The coach is concerned that his assistant coach used no profanity, no this, no that, didn't do nothing. He was cordial, blah, 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 blah. According to the referee's report that I'm reading right now, that was anything but that.
Okay.
Okay, the referee is saying that the coach on his way out was telling him he was the worst ref he's ever seen.
Okay.
And
so we have a he said, she said, the classic one of 90 of these every year. We believe the referee has more cost for us than a coach for his assistant.
And the only recourse that this coach has is to go to FSRC if he so chooses.
Yes, but nothing with us. He's got no
Absolutely.
issue with us whatsoever. As far as
Hey,
a
Paul and Greg, this is Jason Herzog with Auburndale Scream, which is what this
okay.
goes to. I didn't know if we have a chance to talk or not. That's why I attended.
Yeah, please. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, no, the call in question's not being argued. It has nothing to do with the call. A 1-game suspension, nothing concerned there. It was more charged to repercussion of the write-up from the referee. So the abusive language, saying that you're using foul language, and really, to me, from what happened, I don't think it's a ref issue. It's more of the field marshal issue, who clearly told our coach that she's going to make it a point on the write-up that our coach will never coach again. That's where the issue comes from.
I don't see
where that appeal goes, is that an FSR? But to say that our coach was using foul and abusive language, cussing. So I understand what Merritt mentioned before, but to say that the coach was actually using foul language and cussing as he walked off the field, I mean, that's completely incorrect and would have limited him to 1 game, not 3. That's the whole point in the discussion. So that's where we would like, if you file an appeal, who does that go to? If it's not you, is it FSR? That's fine. We can go that route. My thing is, we're not contesting the call. We're not contesting a suspension of the game for a coach being removed.
All right. Let me ask, or let me try and make this more complicated than it already is. Where were you when this happened, and where is the field marshal that told you that? What club?
We were at Northport.
Okay. First of all, the whoever the field marshal is at Northport does not have the power to stop anybody from ever coaching again. Okay, just starts it.
I agree.
Unless he's murdered somebody, and then it's going to be, it's still not going to be Northport that does that. Number 2,
correct.
Who wrote up that there was language that was abusive? Was it the field marshal or the central ref?
This was the referee.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Greg.
Yeah, the referee's report was Andrew Strike.
Okay.
And what the referees, I'll just read it to you. The referee saying is he turned his back to the parents. The assistant coach stated, "You need to learn the rules. You suck." That was what the parent had said. And right after that, when he was finished with the parent, the assistant coach continued to verbally attack and use foul language towards my AR, so I ejected him. He refused to leave the field multiple times. Finally, when he was walking off the field, he was taunting me personally, the center, shouting, "You're the worst ref I've ever seen," blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he was dancing and disrupting the game by not going to the parking lot immediately.
Okay, so
that's what the referee wrote.
And so we gave him 3 games?
Yeah.
Okay. So the discussion is, back to the Auburndale guy, is what the ref wrote up. You can't dispute what the ref wrote. That's already in the books. That's already there. We read it. The dispute would be that he only should get 1 game for what the official wrote up. That's the appeal you'd have to make. And you can make that appeal to us, that we adjudicated it. 3 games is too heavy for foul or abusive language. And that's an appeal that you will make to us. That's the appeal. The second thing is, if you want to complain about the referee himself as far as not being professional or not being disclosed to you or whatever, or not being accurate, that goes to FSR. We have no control over those refs as far as what happens on the field with them. Only to the extent that if they're so bad or so horrible, we will stop using them. So
Yeah, no, we're not protesting or appealing that the referee did a poor job. I mean, we're not discussing, we're not going that route and not saying that at all. It's more of the referee write-up, which again, just from the situation that occurred and the field marshal's behavior, almost like that's where the issue comes in. So that's fine. We'll appeal that. We'll appeal that, and I guess that's the formal appeal.
What you're going to appeal, though, let me just get so we can save you some time and money. What you're going to appeal is that the foul and abusive language that the referee just reported, whether he's right or wrong, let's forget that for the moment, because is that a 3-game suspension? That's what you're appealing. And I think if you go back to FYSA and their guidelines and the guidelines we've used for 20 years here, I would think that's a 3-gamer, and I would think anybody on the board probably would agree. The disagreement you have is that you think that the referee, if I'm getting you right, overreacted and is really being more serious about it than he was, or he was inaccurate. But that we can't, that's already done. In other words, we can't go back and tell that referee to go change what they wrote or rethink it or anything else. All we do is look at what they wrote and interpret it as to what is it, a 1 or a 3 game. So that's the appeal if you go to make it, that we, or USA, is not accurate in giving them 3 games for foul or abusive language.
Well, then I guess our hands are tied, because the appeal would be that without him writing that they used foul language,
that's correct,
he wouldn't have got the 3 games. Number 2, I would highly suspect that based on the comments of what the field marshal said, that she's going to make it a point with the referee, etc., that she had a lot of input into this write-up with that particular referee as well.
That may be,
now,
but your coach is certainly not going to be banned from ever coaching again. Okay, he's got
correct, but
got 3 games in his mouth.
I get that, but 3 games. If you don't use foul language and you get asked to remove the game, and like I said, 1 game, absolutely, I could see that. But the foul language is where those additional 2 games get nailed.
Merritt.
Yeah. Just to clarify, and I don't know if you were on the call just a minute ago when I was clarifying it. It can be foul or abusive. You don't have to use curse words. You don't have to use, toilet language. It can be abusive. You can just be going on and on or telling somebody, about their heritage or something like that. So that's abusive. And more times than not, and this board has probably among us has probably 200 years worth of experience. And it usually comes out that we understand these parents and coaches get very emotional, and that's good, but they don't really understand the full, laws of the game. And per FYSA, section 502.2, line 2, it's foul and or abusive language directed at somebody is a 3-game suspension. So that's what we're trying to save you your time and money. Hopefully the coach will learn something. If you have issues, most of the time, in the youth level, you just got to bite your tongue, because I've been tossed out as well, so I know where it's at. So
no, I'm a certified ref. I ref. I'm the assigner, the president, etc. I understand all that. I just feel really honestly that the coach is being shafted in this deal from the field marshal and her weighing in on the whole deal with the referee. I don't feel this was written up by the referee. The field marshal had a lot of input into this, no doubt about it. That's the issue. To walk off the field and get ejected, that's one thing. But I guess we'll just save the $100, I guess, because it doesn't sound like we have any merit to go with this. But it's just something that's
correct. But the fact that you're kicking up sand about what happened there does matter.
Yeah,
Well,
100%.
So if
Just so
this
we're
happens,
clear-
if this happens 2 weeks in a row or 3 out of 5 weeks, in other words, these one-off type of things are impossible for us to adjudicate and understand who's right or wrong. We don't know that the field marshal told the center what to write or not to write. However, if we see in another 3 weeks we get another one of these and then another one in 2 more weeks, well, now we know, Jesus, man, that's the 3rd one like this. Maybe we need to look into this more. The only way we have of preventing these things from being too ridiculous is repetition. These one-off things are almost impossible for us to make a decision because it's an assertion on your part, an assertion on their part. And in this case, the referee's written report has 75% of the weight. If we don't use the written report by the ref, we're out in the wilderness. Now we're just making up stuff as we go along every week as to who to believe. And that's when you start to get accused of bias that, hey, Kai got a break because he's on the board with the referees at so-and-so, or Joe Quadracki did, or Mike Connell did. And really, the referee's report has 75 to 80% gravitas. If we find that the guys are consistently wrong or making bad decisions, that has to start to catch them in repeatedly doing it. Because a one-off like this, there's no way to possibly know. Merritt, do you agree?
Right, and he's making comments about the field marshal, and I don't know whatever. I know the referee had to sign the bottom of the form, and that's what we go with. So.
And is asking a ref an explanation abusive?
If you continually ask him, yes.
Okay.
That's one of the questions I was going to ask, because it says here that he was taunting him. The coach was taunting the referee.
I'm the coach, sir. All I asked was an explanation for a call.
You're the coach that got ejected?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you did not taunt him?
No, sir. No,
Why would
sir.
he put that down then?
Because of that lady.
Well,
I'm telling you.
But he writes that up. He writes that up at the sideline there.
He's got to sign that, not her.
Yeah.
He signed it, right, Greg? Not her.
Well, most referees will fill out the form at the bench there, or they'll just march on home and do it at home. Now,
and one other thing, the referee on site is our referee. They don't take instructions from any field marshal, any club's field marshal.
He is at that field at every single game I play there.
Well, can I bring something in here? I've played at Northport, and I've seen similar situation with the referee and the people at Northport seem to be always hands in hands with each other.
Well, hey, Les, that's my point about making the effort to file an FYSA complaint. Is if SR had 5 complaints this year, if it's a consistent problem, then we've got to know it. And the only way to know it is by guys formally complaining to FSR. And Merritt, correct me if I'm wrong, but you get a bunch of FSR. You're on the bar. I mean, you're a big mucky muck with FSR. If you saw 3 or 4 of these things, you would be aware of it, wouldn't you?
Right. Plus, the assigner should be aware of this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I mean, and we as a league, we need to monitor it, and plus with our assigners. So.
But Les, the assigner, the Northport does not assign that center ref.
Yeah, but he's a local guy, so he's in hands with the club, and most times local.
But the assigner's not in hands with the club.
Well, not the assigner, but the referees are local people. So if you're pulling for your club, it doesn't matter. You're going to make that decision sometimes if you're not unbiased in favor of your club, and you're going to do what it takes for your local club. And unfortunately, I've experienced that at Northport. So.
But you didn't write anything up either.
Because it wasn't to the degree that Jason had, where we had calls and things that were said on the sideline by coaches and going blank here, those team officials on the sideline, and the referee seemed to be in cahoots with them, and the decisions that were made were based on things they discussed openly.
Hey, Greg?
Yeah.
2 months ago, did we not have a dust-up down there with a referee that was late? Was that Northport?
Yeah. Yeah, that was Benji.
Okay.
Yeah, same kind of, well, not the same scenario, but
No, it's completely different, but
it,
he came late, and they had put a referee in the center, which made sense, and then told him to beat it.
yeah.
Okay.
Again, for the lack of, I don't know what the terminology is, it seemed like the Northport administration was rather obtuse.
Yeah. But I mean, that's not ours again.
I agree.
I did 2 weekends back to back at Northport last November, December, and I found the officials to be very biased towards the opposing teams.
But Les, that's the time now we know. But I mean, who does the assigning down here, Greg?
Phil Kahusek.
Okay, and to say to Phil, can you break it up a little bit for the centers if you got a problem, or do you have to use the same people? Or
that's what the original issue was about a couple months ago, is that Phil assigned Benji, and they didn't want Benji to do the game.
Well, that's not up to them.
They wanted their buddy, whoever their official was, to do the game, not Benji.
But he was late. He didn't get there on time.
Because he was doing another game.
Yeah, well, it's look, if there are my fields and there's no referee and it's 5 after, I don't care what he's doing.
I understand, but and this is the crunch that we have down in that area.
No, I know.
We don't have enough certified referees to handle the games.
All right. I need to keep an eye down here somehow. I don't know.
And that's why I made the statement earlier.
Well, this is the time, Les, that we need to know things like that.
Well, that's why I said earlier, those guys know how to manipulate rosters also, because they do manipulate their rosters.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next. 17 for, there's nothing more we can do.
Right.
1742.
What's 1742?
For the reschedule.
I can talk about this. This is quick. It's a U9 game. Dunedin and Liverpool. Liverpool, quote unquote, got confused and didn't show up for the game. So now they're wanting to reschedule it, when in reality, I think it's a forfeit. But it's up to all of you.
So can I speak real quick? This is Steve Lang. I'm with Dunedin. My 8-year-old is actually on that U9 team. And I know that the coaches were trying to reschedule that game, but it never got put through for U.S. Soccer. The referee showed up. Our whole entire team showed up. It was the weekend after Christmas break. And, I mean, it's U9. We personally are not very interested in rescheduling that game. It's an away game for us. If it was a home game and that happened, maybe we would be local, but, driving an hour over to, the middle school to play a U9 game when we have tournaments and everything else for the last part of the season.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
When you went over there and no one was there, you guys drove over and nobody was at the field at the time of the scheduled match.
It was us, the referee, and I want to say there was a U14 or U15 girls game that was taking place on the large field.
So no 8-year-old kids to play against.
There was no opponent.
It's a forfeit then, right? Is anybody?
Right. I mean, I thought it was pretty clear, but, I said I would put it on.
If you guys wanted to reschedule it and play, that's fine, but it's a forfeit.
Forfeit.
What was the team?
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah, it's just that's a plain old forfeit. In other words, if the coaches want to get together and reschedule it, that's fine, but it's forced. Now look, they're not keeping track or anything else. That is a forfeit. And the reason it is because you took the time and energy to get everybody in a car and go over there And that is what we're not doing this because we want to keep the scores straight and the champion and who's doing well in the league.
No, it's
That's
9-year-old
important,
soccer.
But it's secondary.
Yeah.
Primarily it's the integrity of the league. When you go to somewhere, you expect to see the other team there, a field there, and referees. And if it's not, they're going to pay a forfeit penalty. Period. It's a forfeit. It doesn't matter for maybe records, but they do owe us. They owe the league. They don't owe us, but I'm saying they owe the league.
Right.
The forfeit system was put in place like 7 years ago. We didn't use it for a couple of years, but we have been in the last 4 or 5. And I'll tell you, it's moderately effective. You pay $250 for making a mistake like that. You don't make that many mistakes like that.
The Liverpool pays $250.
Yeah, that's the forfeit fine. Am I correct in assuming that?
Well, yeah, and depending on travel for referees and that, but it's a U9, it's a local referee. They'll have to take care of the referees' fees themselves.
Yeah.
They did pay the referee. The center referee ended up actually jumping in, being an AR on the next senior game on that opposing field.
As far as I know. How about everybody else? Forfeit. Merritt? What do you think?
We've got all the noise in the background.
Jessica, you still with us?
Yes, I am. I just can't hear very well. Sorry.
All right. Forfeit?
Yes.
All right. Who else we got there, Greg? Who else is on?
Kai's there.
Kai says forfeit.
Forfeit.
Merritt says forfeit, I think. I can't read his lips, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's saying. Hey, if he's not saying it, he's thinking it. I can see it.
Yeah, it's a forfeit.
All right.
I can tell what Merritt's thinking anytime I look at him now, just from the years of doing this.
And the thing is that it doesn't mean, well, it does mean something, but again, the local assigners and referees aren't getting the players to do the correct thing because we don't have I don't have a game report for this. It was never turned in.
All right. Well,
he did post it as a 0-0 tie on God Soccer. The referee did.
Well, we need to change that to 3-0.
I think I removed the 0-0 and just waited for the decision tonight, and I'll add that.
I don't know how it could possibly be anything else other than a forfeit. That's just I'm flabbergasted that we're even talking about it, right?
Yeah. No, I didn't think it was.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Cher, but I mean that's pretty clear.
Yeah,
you go for a game and no one's there. My God, man.
Right. No, and I think that when it happened, they called me and I told them, most likely that is how it was going to fall out. But that we had to.
It's not intentional. I'm not saying that these are bad people or anything else, but that's the rules. I mean, that's why we want.
And I think I explained that when whoever called me, Wade Winchester, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, they're good guys.
But then someone had emailed me and said, well, can we reschedule? So that's when I felt like I just need to run it.
They could. I would say no, you can't reschedule, but you could replay the game.
Right.
If you get together with them and decide, hey, we'll play.
Yeah.
It just won't matter, but you can play the game.
Right.
But it's not going to be scheduled through us. It's already forfeited.
Right. All right.
Cool. All right. Is there anything else, Sherry?
I have nothing else right now.
How about you, Greg?
No, we're good.
Any of you board members out there? Board members?
No.
B-O-R-E-D?
No.
How about you, Jessica? Merritt, nothing. Kai, nothing?
No, nothing.
We good?
Nope.
Anybody else?
Nope, that's about it. Just you all know my email address. If you're going to volunteer for the showcase, please let me know.
The showcase is the next big thing, and we'll be doing that before the next meeting. Greg, we just get with me, and we'll push on everybody. We just got to make sure it's done professionally, like it was last year. It went tremendous last year, and I would like to look the same way, so we don't look like.
It will.
No, I know. I have, and just don't. Get out in front of it and tell me what you need.
You got it.
Well, whatever it is, we'll get it.
All right. Good night.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to this
Motion to adjourn.
We're dismissed.
All right. Thank you. Formally dismissed.